Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live to talk about episode 3 of the anime series Net-Juu no Susume, and I actually kind of found this episode to be somewhat sweet. The coming together of Yuta and Moriko online, not so much offline, it kind of warmed my heart. I really like the idea of these characters coming together, even if it's not working offline, and that was really the interesting aspect to this episode is Yuta is kind of, digging into Moriko's background a little bit through his buddy, who apparently worked in the same company as her and had interactions with her. And it's just, it's kind of borderlining stalkery. Yuta's digging in, trying to get to know Moriko's background and stuff like that. The way he's got like a whole document file about her and everything, and but it really does, per the dialogue, per their discussion about her, it really does call back on that dream sequence we had where we saw the terror of her fears of living this 9 to 5, computer cubicle sort of lifestyle, work lifestyle, and how, she is plagued with anxiety. I mean, you see it in her every interaction, even, having interpersonal connectivity online with characters in the game. There's a level of her nerves just being completely haywire and such like that. But it was even that much more extreme in the workplace, in the real world, the offline world, where Yuta's friend is talking about, he had a phone conversation once with her where she had to step in because, the boss or whatever, the higher up above her was previously detained. And so she would have to be the through line. And he kind of calls her out on sounding a little bit tired, a little bit put upon. And she breaks down because she's embarrassed, and she's under that much anxiety at having to be that through line and having to have that interactivity with someone, and explain herself that, oh, it's going to take me a little time to go through the documentation, you're going to be sending me and everything. And she's been working long hours, and as per their dialogue, she's actually a good worker. She was good at her job, so why did she bow out? And it's pretty telltale that it was the anxieties, that she couldn't deal with it anymore. She was, if she's so prone to breaking down to tears just at being said, oh, you sound a little tired, she's under a lot of stress. I mean, more than would, be normal within the confines of normalcy in the average person in that kind of a job placement. And so I guess it was just she couldn't take it anymore and needed a break, needed, where some people just need a vacation and then they'll go back to work. This was just derailing her everyday sensibilities, just the normalcy of living and life. And, again, calling back on that dream sequence, that's exactly what was the foremost aspect of it, was the terror and the fears of becoming a nobody, becoming a faceless, nameless agent of a workforce that was just going to be, sort of circling the drain, or in this case, jumping into oblivion and being lost forever. And so she finds that much more solace and semblance in the online medium, in the MMO medium. And there are aspects of that I can relate to as well. Being an online, for lack of a better term, personality, I guess you could say, kind of, sort of. Somebody who puts his face out there, somebody who is very communicative with people online. There's definitely much more a desire to want to get to know someone online than offline. Because what do you have offline? You go to a church group, you go to a bar and have drinks, whatever like that. There's only so much cursorily you can learn about someone. And granted, no matter how much time you spend with someone, you can never actually know every little, nook and cranny about them internally. But there's something to be said for the conversational tack, getting to know someone, what makes them tick, finding common grounds, similar interests, differences between you, and learning that much more about how you perceive the world through conversation. And that's what is, sort of the impetus, the driving force from being out online, doing videos, having discussions. And this is something that is very attractive to both people like Moriko and Yuta. And they've found each other, and it's really where I said it was sweet, is for their lack of actually, being able to come closer together offline. It's that much more beautiful that they're finding each other online. Of course, they don't know, the other is each other, that kind of thing. They're kind of oblivious to that. And I did kind of begin to wonder because some of their in-game dialogue was, referencing back to somebody they both knew in a former game. We know that she was once a part of a former game, and wouldn't it be just coincidental enough that the people they were pining for in this new MMORPG, and her male guys and his female guys, wouldn't it be funny if they were pining for each other? They had once known each other in another MMORPG game, and here they are reconnected, and little do they know they've been connected offline as well, and so it's going to be them figuring out for themselves how to go about, maybe closing those gaps and meeting each other offline and trying to get along as they have online. And so, by the end of the episode, I mean, as if there was any doubt, we have that closing scene with Yuta at his computer, and we're seeing the other side of the dialogue, Lily's dialogue. So we know that that is the confirmation. That is him. He is Lily, the female character in the game. Again, as I said, as if there was any doubt whatsoever. Everyone's already been assuming that, myself included. And it's kind of sweet, but it's kind of bittersweet because you want them to get together. You want them to be able to meet each other offline. And it seems like he is attracted to her offline. And she's just, because of her anxieties and her reluctance to being prone to interpersonal interconnectivity offline and with real people, flesh and blood people, she's much more drawn to something where she can keep everyone at arm's length. There is a lesser responsibility of holding up to a relationship that is online in her mind than offline, because of course she doesn't feel that her appearance is that great. She doesn't think she's that good looking. Her age is something that's, a stumbling block that she has to deal with and everything like that. And so, I mean, there's something, especially as an aspiring writer too, I could greatly take inspiration and be found relatable, I should say. The whole aspect of her writing an email to him to sort of let him down and say, look, you already paid for my medical bills after clocking me in the face with your elbow. You took care of me. You made sure I was okay. I really wouldn't feel, good taking further advantage of you, you buying me a meal or anything like that. You've done enough, and so I'm going to let you down softly. And she took great pride in carefully selecting the terminology, the language she was using in that. And that's something I'm very prideful of as well. When I'm writing, I feel like I am much more efficiently communicative than I am sometimes talking in a venue like this, where I'm on camera and I'm talking to you. Which is why I've given to writing up certain anime episodes that I'm watching, because I feel like I can condense down what I want to say. I'm not as rambly, and I'm more proficient with words and things like that in the written form than I am spoken form. And she, that was something that was really resounding of that scenario for her, for me, in feeling relatable to her, in that she was very prideful, and it made her genuinely happy, and she could go back into the MMO and be excited to play, and was no longer all that, preoccupied. She would then become more preoccupied again with the idea of Lily giving her a gift, and Lily being Yuta, and her not knowing that, of course, is an interesting dynamic that, they are belaboring a little bit. I hope we will eventually see them hook up offline, but I don't know. I'm starting to think if we do, that'll be like something that is an end game scenario, like a finale scenario, like, oh, now they meet each other, but I don't know. That's just my speculation. All in all, though, I enjoyed this episode greatly. I'm smitten with the idea of these characters finding each other, whether online or off, but especially offline. I really hope that they do. And I'll be just waiting with bated breath for that to be something that happens. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Net-Juu no Susume. If you've seen it as well, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, found it as sweet as I did, or any other thoughts you had on it. Let me know in the comments below. Our POVs can certainly disagree as long as we have a great conversation. That's all that matters, the topic of talk. And yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.